Hi, Debbie. First off, I'm Sophia with the Nerds of Color, and I grew up watching you. I have been such a fan of yours throughout your career, and it's a real pleasure and honor to speak with you today.
Oh, Sophia, thank you. Thanks for tracking with me. I appreciate that so much.
Oh my gosh, of course. And huge congrats on the new film. I want to just start off by asking you if there was something specific that attracted you to the project, and how do you think it's going to stand out for fans compared to your past work?
Yeah, I sort of had zoomed out and looked at my body of work and you know, people make decisions differently. And I had been saying a lot of no's because I wanted to sort of tie a bow on projects going into my marriage and just sort of spending the first chunk of time since I was 14 on like investing in myself as a person full time. And when this came up and I began to have conversations with Adam about Blaire, particularly, I think I was just so compelled by this conflict that she's in of being in sort of a codependent, complicated relationship with a volatile person that she sort of monitors and keeps calm, and having that be the person that she dreamed with and that gave her future, and then being conflicted in this sort of like shot to the heart of humanity, and being around that experience for the first time in so long, and being someone who is still so in touch with it and protects it within herself, and the texture of a girl who's in that journey, I found sort of sweetly heartbreaking and fun and compelling. And I wanted to kick butt. And I thought visually it would be fun, like to use all of my boxing training. And so, the soundtrack, he works really well with music and light and neon, and just sort of visually, I knew I just trusted Adam. And then after our conversations, I trusted his process. And yeah, I think that's, a lot of that.
Into our next question, because you talked about, you were such a badass in this film. First of all, like, you were just incredible. It was awesome. I love seeing strong females on my screen.
Same. Same.
And you did the majority of your own stunts and fights, which doesn't always happen. So what was that like for you? And do you feel like it helped you almost understand and portray the character more than if you kind of sat back for those scenes?
That's really insightful. Yes, since my early days of sitcom, whenever I would be doing physical comedy and it's like harness work or a fun stunt, I would just sort of always pull the stunt coordinator and try and learn what I could. And then in learning to box with my husband and just training in those ways, and, on the set of Insatiable and a few of my projects, getting to work with really talented, really hardworking, knowledgeable stunt teams and coordinators and stunt performers, and them investing their knowledge in me. And then a movie like Night Teeth comes up, and it's hard to ensure when you say your actors are going to be having punches thrown at them and crossbows whipped around them. And they took the chance on that. Adam knew that I fought, that Lucy had fight experience, and built around that and really invested in us. And again, we had a really incredible stunt team of people who are superheroes, and invested time in making sure that we knew how to do things safely and without hurting ourselves or any of the other stunt performers. And that opened us up to, exactly to your point, get that in our bodies in a way that really informed the character and is informed by the character. I think Blaire particularly is always just right inside of her skin, poised to sort of respond and protect and diffuse a situation and use the most sort of non-lethal, but the most immediate response to shut down a potentially scary situation, especially on such a high stakes night. And being constantly poised and hyper vigilant in a way of someone who's like monitoring a volatile person often is, it can be like, to allow that to fully be realized in the actionable, like swinging at someone and all of that. Yeah, it's all in the character, and it shows up, I think, on screen. So it was so fun and so nice. And in heels.
Yes.
And in heels. And they wanted us in skirts and dresses. And I was like, I don't know. I think that we need to be in pants at the very least, because stunts.
Exactly. And, as a viewer, at least for me, I always sort of find a takeaway for the stuff I'm watching. And I'm just curious for you as an actress, did you sort of have a takeaway from the character of Blaire or the film itself that you feel just either a personal or maybe an acting wise thing that you feel like is going to stick with you?
Definitely. From a technical perspective, as a producer, as a director, it's easy for me to just see things from the fourth wall. And so from being so young on multicam, part of acting is finding your camera, finding your light, not blocking it, using continuity, doing the same sort of motions at the same time so that it cuts and edits, saving time, and being thoughtful and aware of every single department so that everyone can get home and have dinner with their kids. And in this project, and it has been a few projects now where I have been in the process of learning this lesson, but this project particularly, there was enough space and time and situations where I was allowed to just have the conversation, not at the expense of my performance, but actually not worry about blocking a light or finding this or doing that and internalizing all of these notes, but really just being able to sort of be present and not think about those things from the fourth wall. So that was helpful. But I also think like something I've always been intentional about is protecting wonder. I think people get really cynical. People get really jaded. I think it's like just being like apathetic and eye rolly and being like cynical and judgmental, I think is so passe. I think it's tacky. I think it's lazy. And that's how people like to be cool. And for me, I think the coolest thing is to hold on to wonder, to imagination, to believing in the best in people, to knowing that if you give someone a chance, they will probably show up for you. And if they don't, that doesn't mean that you're dumb. That means that they're going to be unhappy. Like, and to keep doing it and to keep leaning into tenderness and to protect it at all costs. And I think that was Blaire's big driver as well. And that's what I think I loved about her. And it was so authentic. And I had such a fondness for Lucy and for George. And I think that just wanting sort of the best for them, even if that means Blaire goes through the lesson that she learns is that even at the expense of what she thought her future was going to be and everything that she planned, that even if it means sort of burning things down and starting over, it's never too late to do the right thing. It's never too late to make sure that you are not part of a system that continues perpetuating things that unfairly benefit the same people. And like, it's never too late to make the right choice, even if it's scary, even if that means it's taking away your security. And I think that is I think a good lesson for us to all keep in mind.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was that answer, especially as a fan of yours, it just hit me very hard. So thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time. Huge congrats and just thank you, really.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you.
Bye.